Hey friends, welcome back. I'm Phoenix, a quiet girl with a strong spirit and a heart that loves to wander. Life has taught me how to be strong. Through every challenge I collect stories, and here I share them with you. So take a deep breath, and let's begin today's journey together. Thank you, truly, for pressing play and spending these minutes with me. I imagine you, maybe lying in bed, maybe walking outside, or sitting with a cup of tea. Wherever you are, I hope you feel safe here. This podcast is our little midnight corner, where you and I can breathe slower, think softer, and just be. You know, there's a phrase that has followed me for years. Simple yet powerful. You become what you think. At first, it sounds like just a motivational poster, something you'd see in an office hallway. But the more life I lived, the more I noticed how real it is. Not in a magical, snap-your-fingers way, but in the quiet, everyday way, the way your thoughts slowly shape your choices, and your choices shape your life. Tonight, I want to sit with this truth. Not to lecture, but to share stories, mine, yours, and even from people you may admire. Stories about how thoughts, like small seeds, grew into gardens of reality. Sometimes messy, sometimes wild, but always alive. So if your mind feels heavy lately, maybe crowded with worry, or tired of repeating old fears, let's walk together through this idea. Because you are not alone in it. And maybe by the end of this episode, you'll see that your thoughts are not just noise. They are the beginning of your becoming. So stay with me. Stay curious. And let's explore how the world inside your head can quietly, gently, become the world outside. Last week, I was sitting at a little cafe near my street. The kind of place where the tables wobble a little, but the coffee feels like a hug. It was raining outside, soft rain, the kind that makes the window glass look like it's crying. At the table next to me, there was a young woman with a notebook. Her pen was moving quickly, but her face looked heavy. Every now and then she'd pause, close her eyes, and sigh into the page. I couldn't help but notice the words on the cover of her notebook. In faded golden letters it said, "Dream Journal." I smiled softly to myself. But then I noticed something strange. She wasn't writing dreams. She was writing doubts. Every line started with words like, "I can't. I'll never. I'm not enough." It broke my heart a little, because I know that feeling. Maybe you do too. That moment when your notebook, or your mind, is full of reasons why you won't make it, why you'll fail, why you're too late. I wanted to lean over and tell her gently, you know, if you keep writing this story, you will start living it. But I didn't. It wasn't my place to interrupt her journey. Instead, I just whispered it quietly to myself. Because it reminded me of the times when I wrote the same things, in invisible ink, inside my own head. Have you ever caught yourself doing that? Noticing how your inner voice sounds more like a critic than a friend? How your thoughts sometimes build walls before you even try? It's strange, isn't it? We would never speak so harshly to a stranger, or even to a friend. And yet, we let those thoughts live inside us on repeat. As I sat there, watching the rain slide down the glass, I thought of something my grandmother used to say. She had this way of turning simple words into little poems. She would tell me, "Child, the mind is like soil. Whatever you plant grows. So be careful with the seeds you drop." At the time, I thought she was only talking about gardening. But later, I realized she was teaching me something bigger. Your thoughts are seeds. Some are flowers. Some are weeds. And slowly, without you noticing, they take root. Looking back, I can see this in my own life. There were seasons when I kept repeating, "I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing." And guess what? I felt more lost, more confused, more afraid to even begin. But there were also moments when I dared to think differently. When I whispered to myself, maybe I can try. Maybe I can learn. Maybe I can grow. And those thoughts didn't make me perfect, but they made me brave enough to move. Sitting in that cafe, I wondered what would happen if that young woman changed just one sentence in her notebook. From "I can't" to "I can learn." From "I'll never" to "I'll try." From "I'm not enough" to "I'm still becoming." Maybe her life wouldn't change overnight. But little by little, the story she lives would begin to match the story she tells herself. And maybe that's true for you too. So let me ask you softly, what are you planting in the soil of your mind today? Are they seeds of fear? Or seeds of hope? Take a moment. Listen closely. Because what you think again and again will grow. Maybe you've had days when you wake up, and even before your feet touch the ground, your thoughts are already heavy. You think about the mistakes you made yesterday, the deadlines you missed, the words you wish you could take back. You tell yourself, "I'm always behind." Or maybe, "I'm not as smart, not as lucky, not as talented as other people." And suddenly, the day feels harder before it even begins. I know that cycle. It's like carrying a backpack full of invisible stones. Every thought adds another stone. And before long, you're not just walking through your day, you're dragging yourself bent under the weight. It's tiring. And it's quiet, nobody else sees it. From the outside, you look fine. But inside, you're wrestling with a storm that never seems to stop. Sometimes the struggle comes from comparison. Scrolling through photos of other people's lives, thinking, they have it all together. And here I am, barely holding on. Other times it comes from the past, a voice that whispers, you failed before. You'll fail again. And that memory repeats like an old song you can't turn off. And then there are those nights. When you lie in bed, the lights off, the world quiet, but your mind won't stop talking. You replay conversations. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You think about who you could have been, if only you were braver, smarter, faster. Does this sound familiar? If it does, please hear me. You are not broken. You are not strange. You are human. Every one of us knows these voices. They may sound different, but they all carry the same fear. I am not enough. And here's the gentle truth. Those thoughts may feel permanent, but they are not. They are clouds, heavy, dark, but always moving. Think of your mind like the sky. Sometimes it's blue and wide. Sometimes it's stormy and gray. But always, underneath, the sky is still the sky. Your worth doesn't vanish just because the clouds arrive. I remember once, during a season when I doubted myself deeply, I wrote a little note on a sticky paper. It said, thoughts are weather, not identity. And I kept it on my desk. Every time I felt the storm, I looked at that note. It reminded me, my thoughts may scream, you're failing, but that doesn't mean I am failure itself. It reminded me, I could let the thought pass like a cloud drifting across the sky. And maybe that's what you need to remember too. So if your inner voice has been cruel lately, if your thoughts have been shouting that you're not enough, pause here with me. Take one deep breath. Place your hand gently on your heart. And whisper this to yourself. I am more than my thoughts. I am the sky, not just the clouds. Because here's the thing, the mind is powerful, yes, but it is also flexible. It bends. It shifts. And slowly you can teach it new songs. So if your struggle is real tonight, let me be the friend who tells you. It's okay. You don't need to erase all the doubts at once. You don't need to force happiness. Just notice the thoughts. Notice which ones are heavy stones, and which ones are seeds of hope. Then, choose which ones you want to water. Because what you water grows. Here's the part one love most about the mind. It doesn't need a grand rescue. It doesn't need lightning bolts or miracles. It only needs a small shift. Imagine this. You're standing in a dark room. It feels endless, heavy, impossible to escape. But then you light one candle. The darkness is still there, but it no longer owns the room. That's how thoughts work too. You don't need to fight every negative thought. You just need to bring in one small light. For example, instead of waking up and thinking, I can't do this, try whispering, I will try just one step today. Instead of saying, I'll never change, try, I am learning slowly. Instead of, I'm behind everyone else, try, I am walking my own road. These tiny shifts may look weak, almost silly, but they are powerful. Because the brain learns through repetition. Every time you choose a lighter thought, you carve a new path. And with time, those paths become roads. And those roads lead you forward. Think about it like water dripping on stone. One drop looks like nothing. But drop by drop, day by day, it shapes even the hardest rock. Your thoughts are those drops. Gentle, but unstoppable. So let's practice together right now. Close your eyes if you can. Take a breath. Hear the old voice that says, you are not enough. And then softly place a new voice beside it. I am growing every day. Hear the thought that says, you will fail. Now let a new one answer. Failure is part of learning. I will try again. Hear the voice that says, it's too late for you. Now reply with, every day is still a beginning. Do you feel the rhythm? This gentle back and forth? It's not about shouting over the dark voice. It's about adding another melody until the music changes. And when you keep practicing, you notice something beautiful. The new melody grows louder, and the old one slowly fades. I know this works because I've lived it. There was a season in my life when every thought told me, you're lost. You'll never find your place. And for months I believed it. But one morning, sitting in the quiet, I decided to try a different thought. Not a grand one. Not, I will conquer the world. Just this. I will take one small step today. That thought didn't change my life overnight. But it moved me. And once I moved, I kept moving. Step by step, thought by thought, I built a new path. And one day I looked back and realized, the girl who once whispered, "I'm lost," was now walking with direction. So tonight, if your thoughts are heavy, remember this. Change begins with one small shift. One candle. One drop. One step. You don't need to fix everything today. You only need to choose one thought that feels lighter than the last. And tomorrow, choose it again. And again. Because every thought is a seed. And every seed, when repeated, becomes a story. So ask yourself gently, what story do you want to grow? Here it is. The truth that I want you to hold close tonight. You become what you think. Not instantly. Not magically. But gradually, like sunlight shaping the color of your skin, like water carving its way through stone. What you repeat inside becomes what you live outside. If you think every day, "I am broken," your choices, your posture, even your eyes will slowly bend toward that belief. If you think, "I am learning," you'll notice more lessons, more teachers, more open doors. If you think, "I am unlovable," you may push people away without meaning to. But if you think, "I am worthy of care," you'll start letting kindness in. And little by little, you'll act as if it's true. Thoughts are not just noise. They are blueprints. And your life is the house they quietly build. Think of it like a GPS. If your mind is set to failure, it will keep directing you there. But if you set it to growth, it may still take wrong turns, but it will keep rerouting toward possibility. Let me give you simple, everyday pictures. A student who thinks, "I'll never be good at English." Guess what happens? She avoids practicing, avoids speaking, avoids trying. And of course, she never improves. But another student thinks, "I'm still learning. I'll try one new word a day." She speaks awkwardly, yes, but she grows. And one day, she looks back and realizes she has built a whole new voice. Or picture someone at the gym. If he thinks, "Everyone is watching me. I don't belong here," he will stay in the corner, hide, maybe even quit. But if he thinks, "Everyone starts somewhere. I belong in my own way," he will lift one weight, then another, and slowly grow stronger. Do you see it? The thought is the seed. The action is the sprout. And the life is the garden. This is not about ignoring pain. It's not about pretending life is perfect. It's about realizing that the voice you feed becomes the path you walk. So tonight, I invite you to ask yourself, what do you want to become? Not 10 years from now. Not in some perfect future world. But here. Now. Do you want to become softer? Kinder? Stronger? Braver? Then start thinking those seeds. Start whispering them, even if you don't fully believe them yet. Because belief grows by practice. And practice begins with thought. I'll say it again slowly like a rhythm for your heart. You become what you think. You become what you repeat. You become what you choose to water. So choose with care. Choose with love. Choose with hope. Here's a gentle reframe I want you to carry. Your thoughts are not only mirrors of today, they are maps for tomorrow. When you say to yourself, "I'm failing," you mark a dead end. But when you shift it to, "I'm learning," you create a road, even if it's small, even if it's rough. That shift doesn't erase the struggle, but it changes your direction. And over time, direction matters more than speed. Think about the story of Oprah Winfrey. Today, the world knows her as a powerful woman, a voice of wisdom and influence. But her beginnings? They were far from perfect. She grew up in poverty. She faced abuse, rejection, and countless setbacks. And yet, she once said, "You become what you believe." And to believe that you are created by the power that's greater than yourself means anything is possible. If Oprah had only listened to the voices that told her she was unworthy, too poor, too broken, she would not be who she is. But she chose to hold another belief. That she was meant for more. That her voice had power. That her story mattered. And slowly, step by step, thought by thought, she built the life we now see. Her story is not about perfection. It's about beginning with imperfect pieces and refusing to let those pieces define the whole. And that's the invitation for you. Don't wait for perfect confidence before you begin. Don't wait for the storm to clear before you walk. Plant the thought now, even in messy soil. Because imperfect beginnings are not failures. They are seeds. And seeds always look small, even invisible, at first. So if your mind says, "I'm not ready," try whispering back. No one ever is. And still we begin. This is the quiet magic of becoming. Not waiting for proof, but daring to think differently, even when it feels small. Because small thoughts grow. And those small thoughts can change your entire direction. So tonight I ask you, what is one small thought you can plant in your mind, today? One thought that, if repeated, could gently reshape your path? Hold it. Repeat it. Water it. And remember, even Oprah began in silence, with nothing but a thought she chose to believe. Tonight's word is simple but full of life. Sparkle's idiom of the day: plant a seed. What does it mean? It doesn't only mean putting a seed into soil. In English, plant a seed also means to start an idea, a habit, or a small action that can grow bigger in the future. Think of it like this. When you plant a real seed, you don't see a tree right away. You don't see fruit or flowers on the same day. But with water, sunlight, and time, the seed grows into something beautiful. It's the same with your thoughts. When you think a new thought, I can try, I am learning, I am enough, that thought is a seed. It may look small, almost invisible, but if you repeat it, protect it, and water it with action, it becomes stronger. And one day, you wake up and realize that small thought has become a way of living. Let me give you a life example. A friend of mine once told me she hated public speaking. Every time she had to present at work, she thought, I'm terrible at this. And of course, every time she froze, she rushed, she felt embarrassed. One day, she decided to try a new seed. Before speaking, she whispered to herself, I am nervous, but I can grow. That was it. Not a big speech, not a magic trick. Just one little seed. She repeated it every time. I am nervous, but I can grow. And slowly something changed. Her voice became steadier. Her words became clearer. And after a year, she looked back and realized she was no longer terrified. That's the power of planting a seed. It begins small, but if you care for it, it grows. So next time you notice a harsh thought, pause. Ask yourself, what seed am I planting right now? Because remember, you become what you think, and every thought is a seed. So, my friend, we've walked together through the garden of thoughts tonight. We've seen how they begin as small seeds, how they can grow into flowers or weeds, how they quietly shape the path beneath our feet. And here is the heart message I want you to carry. You are not powerless. You are the gardener. And the seeds you choose to plant, again and again, will bloom into the life you live. Yes, doubts will still come. Yes, storms will still pass through. But even storms cannot erase a seed that has taken root. So here is my invitation to you. Tonight, or tomorrow morning, choose one seed thought to plant. Write it on a paper. Whisper it to yourself. Carry it in your pocket. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to sound poetic. It only needs to be true enough to move you forward. Maybe your seed is, I am learning. Maybe it's, I am worthy of love. Or maybe, I can begin again. Whatever it is, let it be yours. And repeat it softly every day. Because small thoughts repeated become strong roots. And strong roots can hold you steady through any season. And now, as we close, let me speak a blessing over you. May your mind be gentle with you. May your thoughts turn into soft lanterns that light your way. May every harsh voice grow quieter, and every kind voice grow louder. May you know that you are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly on time for your own becoming. And may you remember, in every breath, in every step, you become what you think. So think with love, think with hope, and think with courage, because your life is listening, and it will bloom with what you choose to plant. Thank you for sharing this time with me. It means more than you know. If this episode touched you, I invite you to share it with someone who might need a small seed of hope tonight. Until we meet again, take care of your thoughts, take care of your heart. And as always, I'm sending you love, strength, and gentle light. If you enjoy this episode, leave a comment, share a story, like and subscribe. I would love to hear from you. I'll see you next time.